Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalia Leigh and I'm an indie author and freelance editor, and today, this video is gonna be a big one because I am taking you behind the scenes and inside my pocketbook, essentially, to let you know exactly how much money I spent to self-publish my book, Song of the Dryad. So if you're interested in self-publishing and you want to know how much money you might be looking at spending in order to publish a high-quality book, then stay tuned. Let's get started. So I'd like to preface this video by saying that what I chose to pay for Song of the Dryad doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to choose the exact same thing. You're not going to need everything that I needed and vice versa. So everybody's publishing experience is going to be different. We're all going to be looking at paying slightly different amounts of money, just depending on the type of book you're publishing, how high quality you want it to be, probably pretty high quality, just saying, and any like additional add-ons or arcs or anything like that. So just keep that in mind. Everybody's pricing is going to be a little bit different, but I'm going to be totally open and transparent with you, and I'm going to share exactly what I had to spend to self-publish Song of the Dryad. So the first thing that I had to do was register my LLC. I did choose to create my own publishing house, which is Enchanted Ink Publishing, and Enchanted Ink Publishing has since become my editing business as well. So I am incredibly grateful that I opened an actual business for Enchanted Ink Publishing, because not only is that where all my editing money is kind of funneling through, but that's where all my book sales funnel through as well. So it's incredibly easy to keep track of how much money I'm making via writing and editing and writerly things. So registering my LLC cost $50, and I believe that the cost to register an LLC will vary depending on where you live, but it was $50 where I'm at. The second thing I had to do was set up a website for Enchanted Ink Publishing. I already have one for Natalia Leigh, but I'm not really counting it within this video because I had that for years before. So I went ahead and I opened a second website for Enchanted Ink Publishing. And again, I'm very glad I did this because it has since become my editing business, and that's the main thing I do with Enchanted Ink Publishing. But it was incredibly affordable. It was only $34 for a domain for 2 years. And I use Weebly for Enchanted Ink Publishing. So you can definitely look into them if you're interested in like a more affordable web designing service. And then for natalialeigh.com, I use Wix, and that is much more expensive. But for Weebly, it was only $34 for 2 years, so I'm very happy with that. The third thing I needed to do was buy my ISBNs. I was publishing with IngramSpark, and therefore I had to provide my own ISBNs. If you are only publishing with KDP, they provide ISBNs for you. It's just part of their service. However, it's not what I would recommend. If you want to know why, let me know in the comments down below, and I can do an entire video on why I recommend buying and supplying your own ISBNs. But I bought a pack of 10 ISBNs, and I bought these from Bowker Identification Services, and they cost me $295. Now, keep in mind that was a pack of 10, but it was a really good deal because if you want a single ISBN for only one book, you're going to be looking at paying $125. And personally, I needed 3 ISBNs for Song of the Dryad because I have a hardcover, a paperback, and an ebook, and each version of your book needs its own ISBN, its own identification number. So even if you are just publishing a paperback and an ebook, you're going to need at minimum 2 ISBNs. So if you need that, then you might as well buy a pack of 10 because it's going to be almost cheaper. Yeah, $250, almost cheaper. Math. I'm an English person. So 2 ISBNs would run you $250, whereas 10 ISBNs were $295. So if you're planning on writing multiple books or even just having a paperback and an ebook, then I highly recommend getting the 10 pack because it will save you a lot of money. But again, let me know if you want an entire video on why I recommend buying ISBNs rather than just using the free ones that Amazon provides you. The fourth thing I did was I paid for copyright protection for Song of the Dryad. Now, I don't believe this is 100% necessary. You can definitely do research on copyright on your own time if that's something you're interested in. As far as I know, and don't totally quote me on this because I read this a while ago when I was deciding if I wanted this additional copyright protection, everything you write is already copywritten in a way, like it is already your intellectual property, so it belongs to you. And you don't have to pay anything for that. It's your intellectual property. However, if you want the additional protection of a copyright and you want to register your copyright with like the copyright office, that's where you gotta pay for it. So I went ahead and I paid $55 for that. Again, don't totally quote me on copyright protection stuff because I read it a long time ago when I was deciding whether or not I wanted to do this for Song of the Dryad. It's another video topic that we could go into, but I did decide to opt for the paid copyright protection and it was $55. Okay, we're moving right along. So the next thing I had to pay for was my IngramSpark setup. And I have lots of feelings and thoughts about IngramSpark, which is a print-on-demand company. I'm sure many of you have heard of it. I did use IngramSpark for Song of the Dryad, and that's why I was able to produce a hardcover book, which looks like this. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Granted, Barnes & Noble Press is also doing hardcovers now, and I haven't tried any of theirs. But I did want a hardcover version of Song of the Dryad, so I decided to go with IngramSpark, and for a hardback, a paperback, and an ebook setup on IngramSpark, I ended up paying $98. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop up a little graphic on the screen here of the title setup costs that you would be looking at if you decided to go with IngramSpark. So if you decided to set up a print and ebook simultaneously, same time, then it would be $49, which is what I did for the hardcover and the ebook. I set those up at one time. So that was $49, and then I went back again and I set up another print title. I set up my paperback, so that was an additional $49. So that's what brings us to $98 for the setup fees on IngramSpark of these books. Now keep in mind, IngramSpark is a little bit picky. It's not like Amazon where you can just make all these changes and do whatever you want. Like, they are way more I don't even know if I would say professional, because I'm not sure I would call them a super professional company, but they do expect that you're kind of getting things right from the get-go, because if you're not and you have to continually like submit new files and a new cover and have them constantly reviewed, then you might be looking at additional costs. I was very careful about that, so I didn't rack up any additional costs by having to change my either cover or interior files at all. I made sure they were good and that they were ready to go when I paid these setup fees, because I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be charged any additional money. But for IngramSpark, I did end up paying $98. Okay, next up, this one is gonna be pretty heavy hitting. It might make your butt clench a little bit. And this is the copy editing fee that I paid for Song of the Dryad. I wanted to make sure that this book was as clean and professional as it could possibly be. And in my opinion, you 100% need a professional copy editor for that. Unless you are a copy editor yourself, you are not going to know what to look for. And I 100% did not want this book to be riddled with errors, because I see that personally for my brand and for my business as being unprofessional, and that was not what I wanted to put out there. So hold on to your seat for this one. For copy editing of Song of the Dryad, which is about 105,000 words, I paid $1,569.37. So almost $1,600 to have Song of the Dryad copy edited. Keep in mind with copy editing, I do believe 100% that if you want the most professional product that you can potentially put out for your readers, then copy editing is 100% necessary. I understand that not everybody can pay the costs associated with copy editing, but again, paying almost $1,600 for this book, it was a lot of money. It ended up being a wonderful investment because this book is incredibly clean and my copy editor did an amazing job, but personally, I don't charge as much as my copy editor did. She charged me a lot of money. My copy edits, depending on how long the book is, typically run authors about $300 to $800. Again, just depending on how clean their work is and how long their book is. Because if your book is 200,000 words, it's going to take a copy editor a hell of a long time to get that work done, and you're going to be paying way more money. So take that number, that almost $1,600 that I paid for this book, and kind of put it in the back of your mind like it is possible to pay, you know, $1,600 for a copy edit, but you don't have to. Again, most of my authors and my clients end up paying me between $300 to $800 for a full copy edit, and that's half, I mean, on the high end, $800 is half of what I paid for this. Moving on, because that was the most painful one. It gets a little bit better after this, I promise. All right, the next thing I paid for was interior art. If you have not read Song of the Dryad, then you haven't seen any of the interior art. I'll go ahead and show you a little bit here. Let's find some. Here's one. That is an illustration of the brownie, who is one of the characters in the book. I have 5 illustrations in the book, and each one cost me $20. So I ended up paying $100 for the art to go inside the book. That does not include the cover. That is just the interior art. That was $100. Again, I'm so glad I paid this artist. I'm incredibly happy with her work. I think it's beautiful, and it really helps kind of bring the magic to life in Song of the Dryad. I wanted this book to feel cozy and magical, and I really think that those little illustrations help just kind of sprinkle magic on the story. So I'm glad that I did that, but most people don't put illustrations in their books. I enjoy doing it because I'm just a creative soul like that. I love illustrations. I'm a visual person. So I chose that additional $100, but this is likely something that you won't need to do unless you just want like character art to share on your Instagram or your website or your YouTube, or you want, you know, character art to put on bookmarks to send out. Then of course you're going to be looking at fees, you know, interior art fees or character design fees or whatever it is. So keep that in mind. You don't have to put it in the book, but if you want any sort of character art on swag, then you need to budget for that as well. Okay, now this next one I'm going to tell you is the second most expensive thing I paid for, and that was the cover design, which is absolutely gorgeous. And again, I have a hardcover version, which is slightly different because we have the flaps here. So we have the interior flaps, which turned out gorgeous. I am so happy with this cover design. I could not ask for a more beautiful design than the one I got. So I paid for cover design, and I also paid for interior formatting. Now, I would not pay for interior formatting again, especially because the business I used, I'll be super honest with you, I used 8 Little Pages, and I could do an entire review on them if you are interested, like if this is a business you might be interested in hiring to do your cover. In terms of formatting, they did a beautiful job. However, they locked the formatting so that I couldn't make any changes on my own. And then when I needed changes done, they essentially told me that they didn't have time and couldn't do it for me. And even though I paid them for formatting, I ended up having to do the formatting of my own ebook because I accidentally told them that I was going with Amazon instead of IngramSpark or something like that. So they formatted it incorrectly for that print-on-demand company, and then they wouldn't redo it. So I ended up having to do formatting of my ebook on my own. So I paid $600 for the cover and formatting. The formatting was a little bit frustrating, didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted, but the cover is absolutely gorgeous, and I could not have asked for a better cover. So again, that $600 that I paid is something that you wouldn't necessarily have to pay. Every cover designer is going to charge you something different. And again, you can learn how to do formatting on your own if you want to spend some serious time and effort to learn it. I have since completely designed and formatted Pistol Daisy and Whiskey City, and it's gorgeous. I'm incredibly happy with it, and I just use Microsoft Word. So you can definitely learn how. It is infuriating, I can tell you that much right now. It's infuriating to learn how, especially if you're using Microsoft Word, but it's totally doable. So if you don't want to pay somebody to format your book for you, you can definitely save money by formatting by yourself. Okay, this leads us into proof copies, and this is going to seem This is probably going to seem wildly expensive for proof copies because, again, between 8 Little Pages and their formatting snafus and IngramSpark just being a general pain in the butt to work with, I ended up having to order a proof copy and pay a large sum of money to have it rush shipped to me because IngramSpark and 8 Little Pages were kind of behind in terms of when my publication date was. So for only 2 books, I got 1 hardback and 1 paperback proof copy just to confirm that both of them were good and ready to go. For 2 books, I paid $62.68, which is a lot. Again, keep in mind, one of them, the hardcover, had to be rush shipped to me, and that was pretty expensive. I paid over $40 just to have that 1 book sent to me, and then for the second book, I paid over $20, which puts us at the $62.68 that I paid to have these 2 proof copies shipped to me. So that is all I have. I have it tallied up for you. I'm about to tell you how much it cost me in total to have this. But again, I want to mention that everybody's going to pay something a little bit different. For Song of the Dryad, I didn't do any arcs, which now looking back, I wish I had, because I really think it would have helped Song of the Dryad get off the ground. I would have loved to send out copies of it to ARC reviewers and bookstagrammers and book bloggers, because I think it really would have looked beautiful on shelves, beautiful on Instagram. It would have helped me so much, but self-publishing is something that you have to learn. You're not just going to be amazing at it the very first time you try. This was my 3rd book, my 3rd and best book that I have published, but moving forward with Pistol Daisy and Whiskey City, I know more now and I'm going to do so many things differently. Looking back, I don't regret anything that I did. I don't regret any of the money that I spent because I had to go through that process to learn what I liked about what I did and to learn what I would do differently. So, for Pistol Daisy, for example, I am doing things very differently. I am copy editing it on my own. I have taken copy editing classes, proofreading classes. I'm in a developmental editing class right now. I absolutely have the skills now to be copy editing for myself as well as other people. So I am not paying out money for a copy editor. So I'm going to be saving myself lots of money there. I did pay for a book cover designer. I am no longer using 8 Little Pages, so the book cover was only $300 and it's absolutely gorgeous, and I might be revealing it soon, just saying, I might be. So that was a bit cheaper. I'm doing all the formatting myself. I already have my 10 ISBN numbers. I already have that bulk purchase, so I don't have to buy those for Pistol Daisy and Whiskey City. All right, now I'm about to tell you how much I paid to self-publish Song of the Dryad. Drum roll, please. I paid $2,864.05. Almost $3,000 I paid to self-publish Song of the Dryad. I am going to be sharing a self-publishing costs spreadsheet, I guess is what you'd call it. And I'm going to be sharing this with my newsletter subscribers. So it's essentially just going to kind of help you budget for your self-publishing, decide how much money you want to spend on it, and look at all the different things that might be costing you money in order to self-publish your book. So again, if you want that self-publishing, like budgeting costs printout, make sure that you are joining my newsletter. It is linked down below. I would love it if you would join me over there. Also, you guys, my newsletter subscribers are getting information before everybody else. I might be sharing some Pistol Daisy publication news very soon, and newsletter subscribers are getting that information first, as well as cover reveals and other fun stuff. So make sure that you join me if you want book news before everybody else. I do have some availability in March and April for copy editing if you are interested in hiring me. I'm also doing manuscript critiques, query letter cleanups, and a bunch of other really fun stuff. You can either click the link below to visit Enchanted Ink Publishing or wait until the end of the video and just click the clickable link that'll come up right over here, because I would love to work with you. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching today. I hope this video didn't scare you off from self-publishing too much, and keep writing. I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye.